right. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Cross and the Crescent, that show that has the best intro in all of, I would say, the YouTube channel. I haven't seen a better one out there. The only problem is that the developer of that does not receive any royalties from this station, because the station doesn't get any royalties to pay said developer, but we appreciate you doing that. Boy, we got a full house already. My goodness, look at here. I don't know who that is. Does anybody know this? Calvin Flowers. Does anybody know Calvin?
Yes, I do.
You know him. Okay, it's okay to bring him in then.
Yes, I do. I invited him.
Okay, so you're going to vouch for him, DL. So if I get any bad behavior out of Calvin, DL's getting the boot. Good afternoon, Mr. Flowers. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you coming. Okay, so
Calvin made his bones a few years ago. He dug a couple of holes for me. So,
oh, he does. Oh, okay. Is he in the same? What's the word I'm looking for here? The same type of work that you're in? Is that what you're saying, or no? That was a question, DL.
Say it again.
Is he in the same type of line of work as you, or?
Yeah, if you want to switch the TV, switch it off.
He's a Christian apologist. He's got a prison ministry.
Oh, okay.
A couple other things, I believe.
All right. Well, thank you for coming tonight, Mr. Flowers. We appreciate that.
Love the hair.
Okay. The only time that they turn on their on their camera is when they look better than me. So this is just a prime example of that. But I'm used to it. I'm used to it. Look at that. I think he even turns the light on. Look at that. Take that, Cavern. We got you. Okay, so tonight.
You're a cute guy, Eric.
Oh,
you're
thanks.
a cute
I
guy.
appreciate that. Okay. All right. So tonight's topic is like, I feel like, sometimes I feel like I'm beating a dead horse by doing this topic and bringing it up on the. I'm going to have to mute Calvin. I'm going to have to mute you and a couple other people because. Oops. Let's see. Calvin, can you mute your? Thank you. All right, because we get a lot of background noise. What I was saying is that sometimes I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with this argument, and the reason is because when we start voicing our objection,
I think it's Yahya.
Maybe Yahya, you got background.
Let me mute myself.
Okay, there. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, what was I saying? I had a train of thought going here, and every time I got a train of thought going, okay, the reason why I say it, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here is because we do talk about this subject frequently. And the reason why we bring up this subject frequently is because it clearly demonstrates from our view that Muhammad could not have been a prophet, because no man with any amount of character, decency, would have done this one thing to anybody, especially a little girl. So what we're going to do tonight is Yahya and I are going to engage in a discussion. If any of you would like to participate in the discussion, I'm going to ask you kindly, nicely, to wait until the end of our discussion together, because what inevitably happens, and we have a full house already, what inevitably happens is that everybody starts going at each other, and so-and-so's talking over so-and-so, and the next thing you know, whoever we have on, like Yahya this evening, he's trying to answer 6 different questions from 6 different people, and it never works. So I would like Yahya and I to have this discussion, and then if anybody else wants to raise questions at the end, or if you have something that maybe you want to bring up during the show, just say, hey, I got something to say, and we'll try to incorporate it. Okay. Now, what I had done today is I had created a slideshow.
We got to make an announcement. Everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, comment. It really helps the algorithms. Yeah, definitely make sure you comment, not just in live chat, but leave comments on the YouTube channel as well as in Facebook. Again, like, share. Yeah, if you don't, we're gonna hunt you down. Okay, we know where you live. You freeloaders.
Yeah, we have your IP.
We have we have it all.
We don't have the IP. That's just a lie. I should. I'm
Oh, we
sorry.
don't. Okay.
No, I shouldn't have said that. That's just that's just not even. That's not even funny. Because I feel like somebody, that little Gina brick up in Canada that wants to dox everybody, and I never do that to anybody. Okay, so I put together this little slideshow today, and this is I want to run these rules for the discussion past Yahya. And Yahya, all you have to do is just nod your head yes or no, whether you would agree to this. All right, so raising your voice is an automatic victory for your opponent. So if I start yelling at you, you win. If you start yelling at me, and I've seen your demeanor, you're not a person who yells. So I would think that if anybody's going to lose on this one, it'd probably be me. The other one is, going off topic is declared a win. So if we're talking about the age of Aisha and you want to start talking about the cost of peanut butter in London, I win. And then the third one is insulting your opponent is not only a win, but you get ejected. So if you start calling me a kafir, ignorant, or whatever you want to, label that, I win, and I get to give you the boot. If I call you anything other than a decent human being, then you win, but I can't eject myself because I have control of the keyboard here. So, and we also have a way to, here, let me show you. I'm not going to get this off here. We also have a way to express our wins here. If I win, can I play it? Paul, is it okay if I play this? Paul?
Go ahead.
You're free to play, yeah.
Okay, so if I win, I'm going to gloat, and here's what I'm going to play. All right, now I want you to watch this. Here we go. That's what I'm going to play. Okay, just so you know. And we're gonna rub it in your face if I win, but I'm not.
That's what happened when the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict came in, not guilty on all counts. Just to let you know, that's pretty much what happened. Just saying.
What in your
not
house?
Guilty. Pretty much everywhere across the country. Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, well,
guilty.
we are all glad to see that. That is for all right. Okay.
And may I?
Yes, go ahead,
can
Johnny.
you make me a mod since our beloved Imam closed my other account?
Okay, do what now? I got to
I'm
make
there. Can you make me a mod?
Yeah, give me. Let
I'm
me
in the
jump
chat.
over there. Yeah. Okay, give me just a second. Nope. Aisha. Where did you go? Of course, I got to wait for everything to catch up on the chat. Where are you? I don't see you.
I just texted. I'm here. 321 love.
Okay, there we are. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Pen, put, hide, add. There we go. All right. You should be good. All right, let's go ahead and go back to this. What I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and sort through some of the evidence for Aisha being 9 years old. And there's a lot of it out there. And I told Yahya that I was going to do this. And what I wanted to start off with was why it matters. Why does this matter? Because Muhammad is supposed to be the pattern of conduct for Muslims for all time. So if Muhammad did it, you can't prohibit it, with the exception of marrying 11 wives or a few things. But for this, if Muhammad decided to marry a 9-year-old prepubescent little girl, then it's okay for other people to do it. And what happens routinely is that throughout the entire world today, it's happening and it's causing permanent injury, not only physical, but also psychological, and in some cases resulting in the death of little girls. Now, the curious thing about all this is this was really never an issue prior to the 20th century. The first time that this was ever brought up publicly or in any type of written discourse, I believe, and I have it written down here someplace, I think it was like 1924. So less than 100 years ago, this was never an argument. we're going to discuss why it has become an argument. It is right here. It's because people in the Muslim world were tired of being mocked for their prophet being called a pedophile and saying, look, your prophet, look at he's 54 and he marries a girl who's 9. What is wrong with you people? And you think that this guy is a model of conduct? So an apologetic had to be developed to rebuke this. So these rescuing devices, I'm not going to present them up until after Yahya presents a couple of his arguments. But what I want to do is I want to show you guys the reason why we believe Aisha was 9 years old. And it's not because some kafir developed this argument or wanted to go in and intentionally disparage the character of Muhammad. It is because of the Islamic sources themselves. The Islamic sources themselves, and the only sources that I'm going to be citing tonight are not Christian sources, they're Islamic sources. So I'm going to be citing Sahih Bukhari, I'm going to be citing Muslim, Abu Dawud, Sunan Nasi, Ibn Majah, Al-Tabari, the historian, and Ibn Ishaq, the biographer. Now, the first place we go to, of course, is to the Quran 65:4. The God of the universe provides a process for which men can marry prepubescent little girls and then turn around and divorce them. So if you look at 65:40, look what it says. It says that you can divorce these women, these girls, and you have to give them a waiting period. It's called the Iddah, I believe that's the Iddah. And it provides processes for women who menstruate, women who have entered menopause. But look what it also provides. And for those who have no courses, i.e., they are still immature. Now think about that just for a second. The God of the universe is providing a process, a procedure for a man who has married a prepubescent little girl, had intercourse with her, and then now wants to divorce her, and then she is going to have to live the remainder of her life divorced from this man. Yeah. Okay, so the tafsirs explaining this are very explicit. There is no ambiguity here, an argument between them. If you look at Ibn Kathir says the same thing. It is 3 months instead of 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, and then which is based on then the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Ibn Abbas, same thing, because of young age, their waiting period is 3 months. You go to Al-Jalalain, those who have not yet menstruated because of their young age. Both cases apply, Al-Jalalain. Then you go to Maududi. Maududi says the same thing, and basically he's just backing up what the other commentators say. Then you go to the Hadith. What does the Hadith say? Aisha says that she was 6 years old and consummated the marriage when she was 9 years old. Again, in Bukhari, he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. And she remained him, listen, this is the important part. She remained with him for 9 years until his death. So how old would she be if she waited with him, or she remained with him for 9 years? She would be 18 years old. So you would expect, because of this, that there would be some other hadith that would corroborate that. Not necessarily the same way, but you would have intercorroboration within the hadith. Then you look at Sahih Bukhari again. It says that I used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet. Now, why was that a big deal? Because little girls who had not yet reached puberty were allowed to play with little dolls. If she's in the presence of the Prophet and her friends are over, he used to let her play with the dolls with them. She's prepubescent. Sahih Muslim says the same thing. She was 6 years old when she was married and then consummated. It came to his house when she was 9. And then 2 more from Sahih Muslim. She was 9 and her dolls, and he died, Muhammad died when she was 18. And again, it says that he took her into her house when she was 9, and Muhammad died when she was, I said 19 up here, it's 18. She died when he was 18. So you have 2 hadith, Sahih hadith, these are all Sahih hadith, saying that Muhammad died and Aisha was 18 when he died. And then since she was 18, she was with him for 9 years, according to another hadith. That would make her 18. So that would mean that she's moved in with him and started all this when she was 9. The math works out. It says here in Sunnah Abu Dawud, had intercourse with me when I was 9 years old. And this is a little reminder to that imam down in Texas. You might want to fix your book when you tried to say that there was no eyewitnesses to this consummation of the marriage, because we have it, and we'll be more than happy to post it on Amazon. Okay, then you get to Sunan Abu Dawud, and it says he used to play with dolls, played with her. So no, carefully, this is not saying I had intercourse with Aisha, and we're not saying that he had intercourse with Aisha in the presence of her friends. She's just saying that their friends would come in the presence of Muhammad, and they used to play with dolls. Again, Sunan Abu Dawud, she was 9 when they brought her in. Sunan Abu Dawud, she was playing on a swing when she was 9. Sunan Anasi, 6, and had intercourse with her when she was 9. Had intercourse with me when I was 9. Accompanied him for 9 years. I was 9. Look at this one. I was 9, and I accompanied him for 9 years. So all of these are making sense. They're all lining up perfectly. Whoopsie, sorry. And she was 9 and died when she was 18. So that makes sense. 9 when they got married, stayed with him 9 years, going to be 9 years old or 18 years old. Married me when I was 6, had intercourse with me when I was 9, and I was playing with dolls. Now look at this one. 9 years of mortal sickness. Aisha was 18 the age when the Holy Prophet died, passed away. She remained a widow for 48 years. And note, she had 9 years of married life with Muhammad. And since he died when she was 18, she was 9 years old when she started her married life with Muhammad. That is an important part to understand. When you look at the hadith, they all line up, pointing to the fact, Sahih hadith, I might add, that Muhammad married her when he was 53, 54. We're not certain on his age, but give or take a year. It doesn't really matter, because anything when you're at that age and you're marrying a prepubescent girl anyway, that is just not the type of behavior that you would want to call sunnah for anybody. It's backed up by the hadith. Then you go to, again, you have Sunnah al-Naja. I'm sorry. Showing my thing. Okay. 9 when she went into Muhammad's house. At 9, was 18 when Muhammad died. We go to Ibn Ishaq, the biographer. Now look what he says in the biography. This is on page, what was this? Page 688 too. I looked it up. It's there. It says, the apostle died in my bosom during my turn. I had wronged none in regard to him. It was due to my ignorance and what? Extreme youth. So if she's in her late 20s, mid 30s, that's not extreme youth, like some people want to say, when he died. So if you want to say, oh, well, she was 16, she was 18, she's not in her extreme youth by any measurement of the fact, because the average lifespan back then was around 37 years old anyway. So you can't make that argument. You could, but it doesn't hold any water. And then, of course, Al-Tabari says, this is the historian, the messenger of God married me when I was 7. My marriage was consummated when I was 9. He married me when I was a virgin. So you have all of these convergence of all these. Islamic Tabari, Ibn Ishaq, his biographer for Muhammad, all saying she was 9. Yahya is going to tell us how we're wrong. So the mic is yours, Yahya. Go on ahead. Okay, you're muted. I got to unmute there. Okay. There we go. Now I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Peace be upon all of you, and thank you very much. My name is Yahya. I have a small channel called Islam Defender Yahya. Usually I go to speaker corners and engage a little bit with the Christian, and including we talk about this subject and other subject, and this subject, and I am one of the people who actually reject the idea that the Prophet, peace upon him, had married a 9 or 6 years old, because as a woman she's not a woman, she's a minor, and is not fit for the prophet of 54 years old to marry a minor, and I believe this is abuse, and she's a child. This is not logical, and actually marriage is between two adults according to the Quran, and we can see that she's not, for example, an orphan because she have her family. Her father is the best friend of Prophet Muhammad, and a prophet would not offend his best friend and take his daughter as a wife. And the prophet is not short of women because the prophet, peace upon him, we all know that when he was, even before he was prophet at the age of 25, he has married our mother Khadija, and she was 15 years older than him. Then he didn't marry during her lifetime till after she passed away. Then because of the circumstances when he reached 40 and he received the revelation, after that he started to get married, and he had many women for lot of reason. One of the reasons that he bring people with relation and kingship between him and other. There was some women who her husband were get killed, and according to Islam, divorcee woman or the woman who is a widow, she's not supposed to be by herself, because especially if there is a children. So the prophet like some kind of he included them and his family to look after the wife who lost their husband and the orphan, and so on. I would like to start now. If the prophet, peace upon him, has married a 96 years old or 9 years old, straight away, directly, we can see that he contradict the Quran criteria itself of marriage. And why I say that, we go to Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse number 6, where Quran say, test the orphan until they reach marriageable age. And if you perceive in them sound judgment, maturity of mind, proper understanding, is then hand over for them all their belonging, all their property, or their money. Obviously, a 6 years old or 9 years old or even 12 years old, she's not in a league of 54 years old, or even a man of 30 years old, because she's not going to be sound in judgment and responsibility. And as I mentioned, the Quran is the marriage is a contract between two adults, where there is family of each of them. They should be people with the bride and people with the groom and related family member, and they have to have dowry agreed by both party, and they should observe the law of God. There should be two witnesses over a contract written between the two parties, and officially it should be signed, and it will be accepted by both party, family and bride and groom. And the marriage, it should be announced in public. It should not be in private. And we know that Abu Bakr and her mother were alive, and he married her. You mentioned chapter 65, verse number 4, where the verse it talk about three category of women and not minor or children, because even the chapter of women, the one I already mentioned, chapter 4, verse number 6, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about women, not about minor. And Surah Al-Talaq, the chapter of divorce, 65, verse number 4, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laid down his law and mentioned three category, the despaired of menstruation, that her idda 3 months, and the women who not menstruated yet, they have their idda 3 months. And the third category is the women who are pregnant. They have to give birth to what they have in their belly, and later on, if they decide to divorce, they can do, it's up to them. Regarding the second part, which not menstruated yet, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed 3 months, there is we need to take in consideration that there is some women, they have some hormonal problem or ovaries problem, and sometimes they don't menstruate. It means that they might be pregnant somehow, and they have to wait. Regarding this,
Hold on. Can I ask you a question about that? Can I ask you a
please
question
do,
about that?
please do.
Okay,
Please do.
so and I agree that there probably are women out there that are like that. They do not menstruate, or they have problems menstruating, or they menstruate late, they develop late. The main problems that I see, because one thing that Christians are always told, or not Islamophobes, that's people who question this. Okay, the people who question this are always told, well, girls in a menstruate reach puberty faster than other people, which isn't true. There's no anthropological evidence for that, but let's pretend that there is. That would throw that out the window. But more importantly, and this is the more important thing, those commentators on the text, Al-Jalalain, Ibn Kathir, Ibn Abbas, all say it's because they're too young to menstruate. It doesn't say anything about having some type of ailment or some type of medical condition where they can't. It says they are too young.
Fair enough. Fair enough. As long as they are saying they are too young, but the chapter here is talking about nisaikum and not your children, so they are already women. And as I said, I'm going to give you another chapter of the Quran which talk about confirm that marriage is between adult and not an adult and a minor, because a minor, actually 6 years old or 9 years old, she is not fit, not physically, not ready for sexual intercourse. Even if a man of 55 years old fell on top of 6 years old, he will crush her to death. And you know, if we think about it's if a 54 years old sleeping with a 6 years old, he will kill her if he really do intercourse with her. So it's not logical and it's not appropriate between two. Besides, the Prophet, peace upon him, he had 3 or 4 daughters. He have Fatima, he have Kulthum, he have Ruqayya, and he have gone out of my mind. So he have 4 children. The chapter I would like to mention, Surah Al-Rum, chapter 30, verse 21. 21, chapter 30, verse 21. Allah say, and from among his signs that he create for you from among yourself wives, you will find tranquility and mercy and kindness with them. What kind of marriage between a 54 years old and 6 years old, because as you mentioned, she is even playing with her doll with her friend. So it's not logical for a 50 years old but to actually look after them and as an orphan or as children. It's not fit for not a prophet. It's not fit for a man normal to look in a bad way to a child in a sexual way. And if I am 58 years old, if I know a man looking at 6 years old and in a bad way, a sexual way, and harassing her, I would kill him myself. You know, you mentioned.
And
You mentioned
in the thing that we've discussed this before. I believe you've been on the show before where we discussed this, where we were both equally repulsed by the idea of a man that age
yes.
crawling on top of a 9-year-old little girl, a prepubescent
Okay.
9-year-old little girl. And
Now,
I'm glad that you admit that, but I just don't. I'll listen to your argument. Go ahead.
uh, 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 actually, all the narrator who narrate the hadith of 6 years old and 9 years old, we start with Bukhari. By the way, any hadith for anybody, if it contradicts the Quran, I would reject. Why? Because the Quran is the scale for any hadith, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his hadith of the Quran is the best scale for us as a Muslim to take on. Bukhari, he came almost 195 years after the Prophet. He collects the hadith narration from people, and it's there is some hadith are weak. Some of them are not authentic, even if it's included in the book of authentic hadith, and it is contradicting the Holy Quran. We should reject it because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala have given us the intellect to differentiate between what is acceptable and what it's not.
Okay, well, I was going to say all of those hadiths in the slideshow are rated Sahih.
Let me come to those hadiths, because I find some Bukhari hadith about the same subject and it's contradictory for the same narrator. So how can I accept the same narrator and with two contradicting hadiths for the same narrator? I'm going to give you some.
Let me just address that. Can I just address that real quick? That piece right there. And I agree that there are. You probably can show that there are hadiths that are contained within Bukhari that are rated as Sahih, or not, that contradict something else. But these hadiths that I cited, saying that Aisha narrating this, and Aisha and other people are saying Aisha, and Aisha said this, are all categorized as Sahih, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me give you a remark on this point itself. Okay. At the time of the Prophet, before he became Prophet, the day of Jahiliyyah, the Arab used to feel ashamed to have children, girls, and they used to bury them alive.
I'm aware of this. I'm aware of this supposed notion.
This is one. Second point, who at that time would listen to 6 years old, or who would take her word as acceptable in the society? Third, the Bukhari, he never met Aisha, that she narrates that she was 6 or 9 years old. This is something.
Well, he lived 200 years after. He lived 200 years after Aisha. This is why he never met her. I mean, this is if you're going to trust. If you're going to
that
trust
mean-
anything, if you're going to trust anything in the Hadith, you have to accept these chains of narration and accept the fact that okay, Bukhari, Sunan Dawood, Nasi, Tamidi, all these guys never met
Okay,
met
I agree.
Muhammad or Aisha because they lived 2 centuries after the fact. So they're commenting based on what we would call hearsay. And I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't trust the Hadith to begin with. But the fact is that 1.6 billion Muslims do. So what I'm doing is I'm using your sources to demonstrate what your sources say, that Muhammad was 54 and she was 9 years old.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I know it is in our sources, and this is why I put any hadith on the scale of the Quran to disapprove or approve the hadith. While I have At-Tabari, volume 4, page number 50, Dar al-Fikr, it says that all 4 children of Abu Bakr from his 2 wives, they were born pre-Islamic period. That means before 610. So all the children of Abu Bakr, he have Asma, and he have Abdul Uzza and Abdullah from Qutayla. This is one wife. The other wife is Roman, daughter of Amir. He have Abdul Rahman and Aisha. And if we to calculate that they were born before 610, let's say Aisha, she was born 605. The Prophet, peace upon him, received the revelation in 610. So she is 5 years old by 610. The Prophet, peace upon him, we all know that he married Aisha 623 or 624. If she were born 605 till 610, this is 5 years. 610 to 623, this is 13 years. If we add this together, her age is either 18 years old or 19 years old.
Okay. Can I say something about that?
Please do.
Let me address that. Okay. Number one, Tabari also in 5 different places of his history of Islam says that Aisha was 9 years old when she married Muhammad. He also says this. So Tabari says this. This isn't just. Tabari says that she was 9 when she was married to Muhammad. This is in Tabari. So this is the same source that you're using to demonstrate that the ages of these other girls is not consistent with the standard timeline, and you're doing all this math here. Who's to say that those dates ain't wrong, are right, and they're not wrong? When you have the Hadith collection that clearly demonstrates what she had said at the time, and on top of that, Tabari lived 200 years after Muhammad lived. So you're depending on a historian using Hadith collection and other sources to compile this, and then you're pointing this one little thing here that he says, well, if you do this math and you go backwards, then it doesn't come out, and that's fine. I get that, but he also says in his same histories that she was 9. So
let's take somebody else then.
Okay.
And let's say Tabari, he have 2 contradictory hadiths. One, it say 9. And the one I just mentioned, that all the daughter and sons of Abu Bakr, they were born before pre-Islamic 610. Let's take the Asqalani, volume 4, page 377, Maktabat Riyad al-Hadith, issue.
What's the guy's name? What's the name of the person? I didn't.
Al-Asqalani, volume 4, page 377. I have as well confirmation in Ibn Kathir and Ibn Hajar, the book Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, the beginning at the end, page 654, volume 8 as well, page 372. And I have as well for hadith about it, that Ahmad bin Hanbal, volume 6, page 210, and Kitab al-Maghazi, the women, Kitab
Where
al-Maghazi.
okay, look, okay, you're citing several different sources here. Where are your sources getting their information, and when did these people live? Because these people just might, it's like a garbage in, garbage out type sourcing. These people might be drawing on al-Tabari or Tabari here, which we clearly showed that he's has some conflict or contradiction within his histories. So are they drawing off of Tabari, or are they who are they getting their information from?
That's why I'm trying to give you the sources and the pages and the volume, because this is my sources around, and I will speak of it in a minute. What I'm saying is, I would like to mention one very important point, that Aisha, she was engaged to Zubair bin Mut'im before she married the Prophet. If she is 6 years old and she were when she married the Prophet, so at what age she was engaged to Zubair bin Mut'im to get married, and the marriage was cancelled because Abu Bakr embraced Islam, and Mut'im, the father of Zubair, he canceled the marriage, and Abu Bakr was planning. Actually, he did migration, and he returned back to from Mecca. Then he went with the Prophet to Medina, the migration.
Okay, can I let me address that? Yes, how old was she when she was betrothed to whoever this guy was? And I looked because I knew this was going to be one of the arguments.
Zubair bin Mut'im, his name is Zubair bin Mut'im. It's impossible that she was, when she was 2 years old or 3 years old or 5 years old,
this is true.
to marry, to be engaged.
I looked this up. A lot of times in Arabia at this time, girls that were in the cradle would be betrothed to marriage. Okay. So she could, as soon as Aisha is born, she could be betrothed to, so and so. And there are even cases, I didn't know this, but there's even cases where girls that hadn't even been born yet were saying, "Look, I'll give you my next daughter if X, Y, and Z." So this, and it's to you and I, you want to hit somebody in the forehead, for doing something like that, and I get that, but this was the cold hard fact of the culture at that time.
Let me agree with you. In this case, it's acceptable as their society, according to this, that a 6 years old is already ready to get married, because as long as she was engaged, and as soon as her father embraced Islam, the father of her fiancé canceled the marriage, and then the prophet married her. According to this, that we now we are disregarding the Quran and disregarding so many hadiths and so many that she's not. She is already ready to get married when she is 6 years old. But let me give you some more.
Let me address something here. Paul Sutliff, who's a history teacher or an author, is telling me to go to his book, page 78, and he says to go to the 4th paragraph. Oh, I'm on the 4th paragraph, and there's only 3 paragraphs on page 78. Maybe you can. Would you mind if Paul came up and read what he wants me to me to read?
Page 78.
Honestly, I'm not able now to check anything because I would like to concentrate on what I have.
Okay,
and,
I just want.
I just want to read a quote from an Islamic scholar.
What's that?
An Islamic historian.
Who? Okay, what page are we on?
This is from Sheikh Muhammad al-Qadiri, Bakr al-Bajiri, an Islamic scholar from the 19th and early 20th century. And this is what he wrote about Abu Bakr's qualifications for the position of caliph. When Allah permitted his prophet to undertake the emigration to Medina, Abu Bakr had the honor of accompanying him, as the statement of Allah says, quote, "And he said to his companion, 'Do not grieve. Surely Allah is with us.'" Surah At-Tawbah 940. The messenger of Allah married his daughter Aisha when she was 7 years old and consummated when she was 9 years old. Abu Bakr joined the messenger of Allah in all the battles and carried his supreme flag, and the last of them, the expedition to Tabuk. The messenger of Allah also appointed him as the leader of the Muslims for Hajj in the 9th year of emigration. When the messenger of Allah passed away, he ordered Abu Bakr to lead the people in prayer. This was the greatest indication of his eligibility for the caliphate after him. So this historian, this Islamic historian, includes Abu Bakr's giving of his, he says 7-year-old, but I challenge that because lunar years are shorter than solar years.
Okay, Paul, let me just say one thing here, Paul. It's on page 75.
What I
Not
understand,
78.
do you think that do you think the idea behind it is like Abu Bakr, he's like bribing the Prophet to marry his daughter so he can be the second Khalifa? Or the Prophet actually promised him that he is going to be his Khalifa, and that's why he allowed him to even marry his minor daughter?
I don't think that's the case at all.
What's the case then?
Why would Abu Bakr allow Muhammad to marry his daughter?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking? I have no idea why Abu Bakr would allow Muhammad to do such a thing to his child. Abu Bakr, number one, when we look at the character of Abu Bakr, we're not talking about the character of somebody that would be what you would have as a model of fatherhood.
Fair enough.
Okay, we'll just agree on that he really wasn't a nice guy to begin with. But I wouldn't say he was a very good daddy.
If I could really quickly chime in here. Okay, we have multiple cases. Actually, right now, there's a CNN producer. Okay, you know CNN, the news network? There's a producer where he paid women to have sex with their daughters. Okay? That is actually, he was just arrested. He's going to court. Yeah, so you see what I'm saying? So just because a parent, there are many examples of that, where a mother, a child, there's right now a case in Afghanistan. I mean, that's the perverted part. But there's a case in Afghanistan. Pull up that picture I showed you. Actually, it's the picture on the screen grab, where a little 9-year-old girl is now being handed over to a 54-year-old man. Okay? This is real. This is happening now. So just because a parent does something, that just means they're a bad parent. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Just because a bad parent does a bad thing, it just means they're a bad parent. Okay, so you can't appeal to that. I mean, seriously, there are all kinds of various reasons why people do stupid stuff and horrible things. But you can't sit there and say because the parent did it, that makes it okay. I'm sorry. That is just not a legitimate argument. But I'm sorry to interject. But
okay. Thanks, Rad.
I never say it's okay. Besides, I don't think that it was the case because we find in Muslim and Bukhari that Aisha she attended the battle of Uhud, where she used to help the injured and carrying the skins water for the believer who were injured. And the Prophet he did not allow any young children because there's blood and there's people are with injury from sword and this kind of stuff, but she was there. And if she was under the age of 10, the Prophet would not allow her present as he didn't allow anybody else, but that means she was over 15 years old because we are talking about Battle of Uhud around 624-25. So she must be adult enough. Besides, I would like to mention something. The Prophet married her, and she teach the Sahaba, the companion of the Prophet, including all the women, and she narrated more than 2,000 hadiths. Can you find me one person in the whole universe, she 6 years old or 9 years old, would narrate over 2,000 hadiths about the Prophet, and she is just like a minor? This is beyond logic. He married her because her father embraced Islam, her family embraced Islam, and she was one of the first children when she was a child to embrace Islam. And when she grew up and she was ready to get married, the Prophet married her, and she lived with him 9 years, from 18 years old to 28 years old, 27 years old, when the Prophet, peace upon him, died 633.
Okay, do you have a hadith that where Aisha is narrating that she was married when she was 18 and Muhammad died when she was 27? Because I have Sahih hadith here that say that she was 9 when she married Muhammad and that she was 18 when he died. So I understand you want to keep making this argument, but what I'm asking you to do, I'm just asking you to give me some type of clear narration where it says that she was not 9 years old.
Okay, that's why I asked. Do you? I guess you are. I'm 50 years old, 58 years old. I guess maybe you are, and you're 50. Have you ever come across?
You say I'm 50?
49, 47.
I'm 57.
36.
I'm 57. I'm only you're older than me. You got.
Okay, fair enough. What I'm saying is, have you ever come across a 6 years old? She can narrate. People come for her to teach them about and can narrate 2,000 hadiths about the Prophet, or she can teach men and women about a fact of the Quran, which been being sent to her husband.
Okay, I'm going to play the. I'm going to play the. I'm going to play the off-topic cheering section for me, but I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that to you. Okay, you asked a question. Okay, number one, after Muhammad died, who did everybody look to? Did they look to Abu Bakr, or did they look to Aisha, his favorite wife? After Abu Bakr died, and Umar becomes caliph, did they look to Umar or did they look to Aisha? When Uthman became caliph, did they look to Uthman or Aisha? The fact is that she provided a consistency along the way. And this is, if you are to believe the hadith, which I don't, because they were written down 200 years later by people who had no idea who. I mean, if you want to put together a book of what we would call a classic case of hearsay, that would be it. But whose words would you trust the most? You would trust those who were closest to Muhammad. And are those words always going to be exactly what she said? Are those words always going to be some type of denigration of oneself? No, they're going to elevate themselves. So you would naturally think that she would be elevated to some higher status, and any hadith that would be developed, because this is, what do we call that when stories get bigger and bigger as time goes on? There's something, I can't remember what it is we call it, but these stories grow and the importance of people grow as these stories are told as time goes on. And this is what you get with Khadijah. That's what makes better sense to me than her being this wise sage of 9 years old. And let's face it, she wasn't given guidance to women when she was 9 years old. If she was given guidance to women, it was after Muhammad had died, where she's much older, and it's only being ascribed to when she was was before that. Embellish.
I
Thank you, Anna. Embellishment. Anna, you're on it. Thank you.
regarding I have the hadith of Khawla when she suggests that the Prophet, after his wife died, Khadija, to marry a bikr. A bikr, that means
Version.
between 10 and 15 years old, not under, because somebody is saying something.
I was shaking my papers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
You know what I did?
and
And I'm going to tell you,
this-
yeah, I'm going to just be perfectly honest. I downloaded your playbook today.
Fantastic.
Okay. I'm
Fantastic.
sorry. Okay. Go ahead. I'm just.
Yeah, what I'm talking about that Khawla, she suggests to the Prophet to marry a bikr, and after Khadija's death, and she referred to Aisha. Bikr, that mean like you know, you have Jariya and you have Bikr. Usually we say Bikr for the first child of the man, that she is the eldest, an Arabic term. And Jariya, that means the one who is still playing with dolls and this stuff. And she mentioned Bikr. And this is, we find in Ahmad bin Hanbal, I have volume 12, but I don't, to be honest, I don't have the right page and the hadith.
I have there was a comment on that what a bicker was. Are you saying that a bicker is not a virgin?
No, bikr is a virgin.
It is the virgin. Okay,
it is a
all right.
virgin. And by the way, the Prophet, peace upon him, has 11 wives. Our mother Aisha, she was the only virgin between all of them, and she actually she was so proud of being like this.
Yes, it's actually one of the hadiths that I had read earlier. It said that she made the point to say that she was a virgin, and she was only 9 years old.
Yeah. There is this we find by the way, in Bukhari volume number 5, we find this hadith. Aisha said, I was Jariya between 9 and 13 when the chapter of Al-Qamar was revealed. Chapter of Al-Qamar was revealed 9 years before migration. That means around 613, 614.
Which chapter is that? Is that chapter 54?
Surah Al-Qamar. I'm not sure. I don't memorize it by that.
Okay.
Anyway, note it down. Chapter Al-Qamar, Surah Al-Qamar. And later on we can
What's
check.
the English word for that? What's the English word for that, Yahya?
It's moon.
Qamar, the moon chapter. The moon chapter.
Yeah, it's Surah 54.
Surah
Okay,
54.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
54.
John.
This chapter was revealed 9 years before migration, like 614, 613. So about 9 years before marriage, Isa was between 9 and 13 years old already. So she was between 15 and 21 old when she got married. This is according to my calculation myself as well. By the way,
Okay,
you are right.
Do you have a source that dates that when that chapter was revealed?
You know, the sources I mentioned before, it's included between Ibn Kathir and Ibn Hajar. The beginning at the end book, and the Tabari volume 4 page 50, the Asqalani volume 4 page 377, and this is Ahmad bin Hanbal volume 6
Okay, well,
page 210.
I get the argument that that she was such age when this was revealed, but nobody really knows for sure when that chapter was revealed. That's the problem. And those people that are asserting a certain date or ascribing a date to that chapter have as much credibility as these other people who have written these other things about Aisha also. So it's essentially just this whole mix of things that you're bringing up here. What I'm asking for is some clear hadith saying that she was not 9 years old and that she was older. She was 14, 16, 18, whatever age you want to ascribe to her. Something out there that clarifies that says clearly her age was, because I cited a dozen hadith at the beginning of the show, showed you who said it, gave you 5, 6, 7 different people who cited these things, and and I believe me, God love you for doing this, to trying to justify the unjustified, or to try to have people realize that this unjustifiable thing that Muhammad did, according to Islamic sources that I have cited, did not happen. But the issue is that there isn't anything out there, because if there was something out there, because this argument's been going on, you and I know this argument's been going on for 100 years, ever since the Western world came into direct contact with the Muslim world, and the age of consent of Aisha, the age of Aisha had become widely known among Western Christians. Muslims were embarrassed, and they were sick and tired of being dogged out about it. There was, I read an article about it today, and the guy was just sick and tired of this. So what he decided to do is start developing an apologetic to refute that. And a lot of his arguments are in this paper right here. Now, I don't know if you, and then I was saying this is your playbook before is not necessarily true, but this is a large article that these arguments come from.
If you allow me, there's the hadith regarding that the sister of Aisha, that she
Asma?
was 10, Asma, she was 10 years old,
Right.
10 years older than Aisha. And Asma, she died 73 years after migration. 73 years after migration.
And where does that information come from?
I'm going to give you but let me just give you what I have written down over here. So Asma, she died 73 years after migration, and she was 100 years old. She was 27, 28 years old at migration time, so around 623. This give us the implication that Aisha was 18 or 17 years old
that last word you used?
At the time of migration.
Okay, you said it was an implication, but okay, all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Because from the age of Asma, if we do a calculation as I did before with the hadith that all the children of Abu Bakr were born before 610, this is actually confirmed, because
be careful when you say.
You're cutting off.
Looks like we lost her. So I'm going to chime in here real quickly, because he freezes. He's going to have to reboot. He'll come back in. But really quickly, okay, I just want to comment on some things that you said regarding Aisha delivering 2,000 hadiths, right? Do you agree?
Over 2,000 hadiths.
Over 2,000 hadiths. Do you agree? Well, first of all, you agree that Aisha was much younger than Muhammad, right, when they were married, right? Okay, I mean, she wasn't his age. Okay,
he was 54. I believe that she was 18 years old. Yes.
Okay. Well. Okay. I have heard Muslims state that it was Allah's wisdom, okay, that Aisha be married to Muhammad, so she could narrate these hadiths, so she could remember the Sunnah of the Prophet and tell the Sunnah of the Prophet. I mean, have you heard this? I mean, do you think that that's a logical, reasonable Islamic argument regarding the reason, Allah's wisdom in the young age of Aisha, whether you believe she was 18 or 9, whatever. Okay.
I believe there's a lot of reasons why Prophet Muhammad chose to marry the daughter of Abu Bakr, and I was thinking the same. Why didn't he marry Asma, which Asma she was older 10 years than Aisha? Why he chose Aisha, not Asma? And it come across my mind. but for some reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want him to get married with this
Right.
virgin, rewarding.
So it was a reward. It was a reward for him. So then,
It partly reward because her father
uh,
was like best friend, and he support and he believes the prophet,
okay,
and he actually gave his wealth believing as the prophet. That's why he's
okay,
called as Siddiq, and I don't doubt that he done it. He done it to. For example, he gave him his daughter as a price for his truthfulness, but he believed the prophet was the prophet of God, and he believed him truly. And the prophet, peace upon him, he loved her father, and he loved her more than his wife, all his wife.
okay,
Even
but
he,
yeah, my question is the common Muslim argument that I have heard, okay, is ultimately the reason why Allah, it was Allah's wisdom that Muhammad married Aisha so young, so she could, because young people do retain a memory a lot better than older people. Okay, the memories are kind of fresher. I mean, if you think back to your memories of your youth, they're fresher as opposed to memories, 5-10 years ago. Okay, they're fresher, they're more vivid for some bizarre reason. Okay, but the reason why he did this was so that Aisha, a young girl, could maintain that memory of the Sunnah of the Prophet and write those 2,000 plus hadiths. Do you see what I'm saying? Would you agree with that? I mean, I don't know. That's a common Muslim argument. Okay.
uh, you know, I agree, and my opinion is whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destined for the prophet, he destined his companion, he destined his wife, he destined everything,
Okay.
and he was the one who as we say, the agent of the affair of everything.
Can
And
I?
the Prophet,
Wait.
peace upon him, just 1 second,
Okay.
the Prophet, peace upon him, when he advised people to get married, he said, تنكح المرأة لأربعة. The women take as a wife for four, like her lineage, her beauty, her money, and her religion. And the Prophet, peace upon him, he advised that take the one who have basic religion and faithful, because this is the one.
Well, that's
which,
good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
No. That's good. But no. So my point is this. I want to conclude with this because I know Eric wants to jump back in. I want to conclude with this. So why do you reject all the hadiths where Aisha herself says in her own words she was married at 6? Marriage does not mean consummation, and that the marriage was consummated when she was 9 years old. Why do you reject this from Aisha's own words? That's what I want to know. I don't understand. And do you have any other hadiths? And do you have any other hadiths where Aisha, of the 2,000 hadiths, 2,000 plus hadiths, where she said no, she wasn't 9, or she said she was a different age? That's what I'm asking.
Okay. What I'm saying is, at the time of Al-Jahiliyyah, before Islam, as I mentioned, even Umar bin Khattab, as hadith says, that he buried his own daughter, and she was even playing with his beard, and he buried her before he embraced Islam. And lot of them does the same. What
We've
I'm saying
addressed
is,
that.
at that time, the Arab used to bury their daughter when they reach the age of 6, 7, 8, before they become an adult.
Lovely
But
people.
I don't accept that the Prophet of 54 years old to marry a 6 years old or 9 years old, because it's not fit.
But no,
for
he
her.
said.
I
No,
don't believe.
wait, hold on. You brought up the
Who
pre-Islamic.
narrate?
Wait, hold
Who would
on.
listen?
Hold
don't.
on, wait, stop, hold on. You brought up, for some reason, the pre-Islamic practice of burying the daughters alive. And that is repulsive. That that is completely horrendous to say that, well, they would bury him alive at 6 years old, so why would Muhammad marry her at 6 years old? I would say that's a perfect argument for Muhammad marrying at 6 years old. So therefore, he would save her from being buried. And but again, you have not stated my question. Any hadith that from Aisha that says she says it over and over again. I'm sorry. We got the imam from Texas saying no one was there during the consummation. Well, I think Aisha was there during the consummation, and she said she was 9 years old multiple times, over and over again.
Okay,
I'm sorry, not imam, former defrocked imam. He was thrown out of the imamship. I don't know what happened.
Okay, I want to play a video if you don't mind.
What I believe, no one would take the word of 6 years old or 9 years old and learn from it. But as a woman,
wait a second. No, wait a second. Okay, hold on.
14 centuries later, so
quiet. Okay, okay. Didn't you just say that everybody was listening to Aisha when she was 6 years old, not 10 minutes ago?
I don't think she was 6 years old when she was teaching the Sahaba and the companion, because no one, she's too young to lecture about the Prophet's life and about his behavior at home and outside at this age. And let's take the other one. Why is the Prophet, peace upon him, let's say that she is 6 or 9 years old. Why then the Prophet, if he have lust for children, why didn't he marry and have 2, 3 another little girls like kindergarten, and he can sleep with each one every day? You know,
that's a great question. There's an answer for that.
Against logic, you know.
Okay, well, there's an answer for that. That people around him realized what he had done, and probably told him, "Don't you dare do that again, or we're not going to follow you anywhere."
No.
Let me just say before we go off on this shtick about saying, well, people, got married a lot earlier at this time. They did. This is true, but they generally married people their same age. They did not marry somebody that could have been their grandfather. They just didn't do that. All of the contemporaneous all is a bad word. The overwhelming majority of even contemporary scholarship says that, you need to get over this idea that she was 9 and he was 54. Who is this guy? This is Yasser Qadi. This is one of the leading Islamic scholars in the United States. And here's what he had to say about Aisha and how Muslims should react to her age of being 9 years old when Muhammad consummated the marriage with them. Let me go ahead and play this. I'm going to mute myself.
So think about it and be a little bit more mature, a little bit more anthropological, a little bit more historical. There's absolutely nothing wrong. And all Muslims, don't apologize for the truth and don't distort the truth. There are Muslims that try to deny this. Oh, he didn't marry Aisha as a young girl. Yahya, look, that's not the way forward. We don't lie for the sake of our religion. Astaghfirullah. We have the truth. We're not going to cover up the truth if people find it embarrassing. This is the reality. Deal with it. Our Prophet ﷺ married a young girl, and it was fine for the time. I am not saying we need to resurrect this age in our time, because times have changed. And there's no problem in our time. My own Sheikh Ibn Uthaymin, rahimahullah ta'ala, he was of the opinion that we should have a minimal age of marriage, 15, 16, whatever the call. He didn't specify an age, but he said, yes, we should have a minimal age that society now is used to and accustomed to. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Let me comment.
Now, this is a scholar.
Okay, I'm going to bring up something else, but yeah, go ahead. Why bring this other thing up? Go ahead.
You heard what he said. He said we cannot do as the Prophet does. Any action the Prophet does, it's allowed for all the Muslim to do, and the Prophet actually would not sleep with 6 years old or 9 years old, because it's against humanity. It's abusive, and he is wrong, and I disagree with all those people who just accepting just because they read hadith that she's 6 or 9 because it contradicts the Quran
Well, no.
criteria
It does
of
not. No,
marriage.
it does not.
It-
I would disagree. I would disagree because if it
Can I-
did, it would say that the Quran would specifically say that. But the Quran says in 65:4, and we went over it at the beginning of the show, that you can marry and then divorce prepubescent girls who have menstruated. It's very explicit. To try to deny, I don't know how you can deny that when it's that explicit, and all of the most notable compilers of Tasfir agree with it. So, go ahead.
May I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
When I read the chapter of Nisa, the women chapter, and chapter of Talaq, they are not talking about minors and marriages. They are talking
But
about
65:4
women.
is 65:4 is though.
I don't believe so, and I don't force anyone.
So are you
anyone.
you're disagreeing with Ibn Kathir, Al Jalalain, and Ibn Abbas, all those jokers?
And Muslim Khan.
Look. I disagree with anyone, whoever he is, as long as it contradicts the Quran itself. And the Quran is talking about women. And when we say women, we are not talking about children or minor. With due respect to everyone and myself.
Can I ask
Just
you a
one
question?
second. One second. As God give us, each of us, an intellect to differentiate between what's logical and what is be accepted, and what is reasonable, or what is right and what is wrong. I find it 1,000,000% wrong that she was 6 or 9 years old, period.
Okay, John Isaac, I believe you were coming up on mic. You had something to say. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Or no?
I just would like to speak about word an-nisa. Nisa in Arabic means female at any age. The translation to woman, it's not accurate translation in English. This is not my words. It's the dictionary, the Arabic dictionary. I put now, if you'd like, Eric, to share it, it's okay. It shows that Nisa in Arabic, in Quran, means girls. Also means women. Or another word, it means female at any age, from day one day till 100 years, whatever. Okay, then please don't say that Nisa it speaks to women. We return back to the original language in Arabic, and Nisa means females at any age. Thank you. This is the point I'd like to share. I'll put the link for the Arabic dictionary in the chat.
All right,
my dear, An-Nisa, it means women, adulthood, and doesn't mean children, because children, you can say, excuse me, when it's under 13 or 12 years old, we call it tufla, we call it jariya, we call it
I think I got something about that.
Can you share, please? Yeah, I'd like to tell me. Show me a word tifla in Quran.
Just like this, I'm not going to be able to.
Not found. You claim something not in the Quran. Show me word tifla in the Quran.
Show me the word jariya or the word 6 years old in the Quran. You know.
You claimed that.
Why? This is why I give you
that the author of Quran.
This is why
Okay, continue.
This is why I said in chapter An-Nisa, وَابْتَلُوا الْيَتَامَ حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغُوا النِّكَاحِ, and test the orphan until they reach the marriageable age. So there is a marriageable age about when a child become the transaction from childhood into adulthood and maturity of body and mind.
Okay.
You cannot.
Can you finish? when you finish, tell me.
Can
This
I finish?
word
I finish.
is for males only, not females. If you go to Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Surah 4, verse 6, I'll show it to you. I'll put here.
I have it, John. No, John, that's okay. I got Ibn Kathir.
Yeah, it
65,
says,
4. Did you
just
say?
a
Did you
second,
say?
just a second, Eric, please. There is no orphan after the age of puberty or vowing to be silent. Sorry. Yeah, Abtilul Yatama. The age of puberty, according to Ibn Mujahid, or to Mujahid, the age of puberty, according to the majority of scholars, comes when the child has a wet dream. Who has a wet dream? Male or female?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't dispute that. I know when.
Then you can't use it for
they
female.
have wet dream. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. When they have wet dream, that means they are already have their puberty and starts to have their periods. That means they are ready
No,
to
no,
consume marriage.
not there. Wet dream is for males, not for females. Wet dream is for males. This verse is for males only, not females.
So
I'm sorry about
according
the
to you,
misunderstanding of the Quran.
So hold on one second. So according to you, in chapter An-Nisa, the chapter of women, God is given the implication of talking about boys who reach their wet dream.
Yeah,
and not women.
An-Nisa also speaks about Isa. There are verses about Isa in Surah An-Nisa, in Surah Women. So what is the relation between the name of the surah and the contents of it? Nothing. Yes or not?
Yes, because the surah, chapter Nisa, is long enough to talk about many subjects.
Then what is the problem if this verse...
Can you allow me to finish before you interrupt? As long as he's talking about test the orphan, so male or female, when they reach the age of marriage, that means there is age of marriage to be reached.
Sorry about interrupting. You are saying something wrong. It is for males only. I show you the proof from the tafsir. If you are saying tafsir ibn Kathir or other tafsir are wrong, say it loud, and you have your own understanding of Quran different from your own scholars.
My friend,
it's clearly for males only. I'm sorry, repeat that. And I put the link for the tafsir in the chat. You can go and read it.
I have no comment anymore. I don't need to repeat myself.
Okay, what is this? The Tafsir 4:6? Is that what you
can go Tafsir Ibn Kathir. You find the speaking about the males. Surah 4 Nisa, Surah 4, verse 6.
Okay.
It speaks about the males because the verse speaking about you can't give the orphans from the males, gives them their money till they reach puberty. But for females, the money will be with the guardians till they marry. Then you get to the husband.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to a little bit of questioning and answering here in just a minute. But I wanted to give Yahya the chance if he wanted to make any type of concluding statement or something that we just
I'd like to add something at the end because I forgot to say.
I'll bring it back up.
For the hadith or book of it's called in Arabic khabar. The khabar or hadith coming from Kitab al-Maghazi for Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani or Kitab al-Bidayah wa al-Nihaya for Ibn Kathir. This is a story about Aisha was grown up when she was in before marriage. These all fake hadith or weak hadith. Go to all these books are full of. Go to the Sanad, you find a lot of a lot of problems in the Sanad. Some of them were liars or liars at higher age, like Hisham ibn Urwa, and these hadiths coming from him. Then you can't depend your belief on weak hadith. These books were well known by full of Israeliyat with hadith. And if you bring me the hadith, I can show you the problem with them. If you give me the sanad of hadith, I can show you directly which one was the problem. Thank you.
Okay. If you want to now, this one that you posted in the private chat, is that what you wanted me? Did you want me to show that at some point in time, or that's just
Yeah, this is the word of Nisa means girls in Quran. You can show it. I posted 2 links. Bring me the upper link, the longer ones, almaani.com.
Okay, well, I've just brought up, the shorter one. All right. You're going to have to explain this to me because it looks like a bunch of scribbling.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay. Oh, whoa. Let me, I got to go through this roll again here. There we go. It should come up right about now.
Eric,
Yeah,
can I say something?
Yeah, okay. I show you the go down little. If you can zoom, it would be better.
Okay.
Yeah, you see here, the third one. Stop here. It is Nisa. No.
Which way?
Return back little.
What? Go up or down?
Return back in zooming.
Oh, go back from zooming. Okay.
Yeah.
No. There.
Go down.
Okay.
Go down little. Yeah. Stop here. Stop.
Okay.
You see here, third line from down. If you go 1, 2, 3, yeah. Nisa, it's written in Arabic, and Nisa in Quran. It's in Arabic. Anyone can read Arabic. You'll see it. Nisa Quran, and on the left, girls. Then Nisa in Quran mean girls and mean women at any age, females in general.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I say.
Okay. I don't think Yahya is going to comment on that.
Okay.
But I appreciate. Thank you, John. You're always
the one you show over it. There is Nisa as well. Over it, there is one about women.
Yeah. I agree. It's female.
2 line. Yeah.
It's female, not adult women. General. In Quran, Nisa means female at any age. This is what I think.
Okay. Let's stay in chapter 4, verse number 3. And if وإن خفتم ألا تقسطوا في اليتامى فانكحوا ما طاب لكم من النساء مثنى وثلاث ورباع. He's talking about nisa. That means the Quran is telling you marry as much as you like, 2, 3, 4 girls like underage, under 10. This is what do you think it is?
At any age, from 1 year, I can give you scholars from Al Azhar, from my country, Egypt. Let me continue. They can marry women, child before puberty at age 3 years old till the maximum is open, and there is no problem. And the only thing, it should accept sexual intercourse. That's it. I can give you a lot of scholars saying that, no problem.
So would this scholar who says that allow anyone to marry his daughter of 1 year?
You can ask him. It is not
1 or 2 years old, because I guess it would be fantastic, especially if we have 5, 6 girls at the age of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can marry them and get their dowry, and he will live. You said he is from Al Azhar. Tell me his name. Maybe I can contact him.
Abdullah Rushdi. Abdullah Rushdi.
He's not an actor.
It is not what?
An actor.
I don't know. His name is Abdullah Rushdi. You can Google it in YouTube. Abdullah Rushdi debate with Islam Bahiri.
Honestly, I don't waste my time on people.
We already.
Sorry.
We already told him. If you have a daughter at 3 years old, will you accept that? He never answered, but he said, I speak about fiqh, understanding of Quran and Hadith gives us this result. This is what he said.
Eric, chapter 4, from verse number 2 to verse number 6, actually to number 11, actually it give you a detail about women and about any. So we cannot take sometimes the Quran itself, it explains itself. So when we will talk about Quran, sometimes you need to read in context to come to the conclusion at the end. And my conclusion is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about not minor, but about people who are physically and mentally, they are ready to be as an equal partner in marriage, because marriage is a bond, thick bond, by front witnessed by God and witnessed by other people, and this is the way I understand marriage. And I am against any adult approaching any minor, because this is or due to ignorance and religion, or lust, or this is a criminal act according to me, and that's it. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I would only conclude that, tonight, what I wanted to do is I wanted to see if there was something that we had all missed, something that would contradict all of the Sahih ahadith that I had posted at the beginning of the show. Something that would contradict what 65, Quran chapter 65, verse 4 says about divorcing prepubescent wives, and that means that you can marry little girls that are prepubescent, and it doesn't give a specific age. And you have not produced one hadith that demonstrates or that contradicts what Aisha had said in the other hadith, that she was 9 when she was married, or I'm sorry, 6 when she was married, 9 when it was consummated, and she was 18 when he had died. That's very clear, it's very concise, and it's very explicit, not only in the hadith, but it's also it's also outlined in the Sirah it makes sense in the Sirah and the what Tabari had to say about it. Now, there are several people, if you don't mind, that I'm sure that would have a question. So if you have a question do you mind?
Eric,
Go ahead.
Allow me just one more time. I'm going to give you only the references, and write it down, and all the people are welcome to check those references, because it talk about women, and I will give you the chapter verses.
Can you type them in?
Then we can do question.
Okay. Well, if you would type them into the chat, that would be a lot easier.
I don't have access to the chat. Let me just quick give it to you. Chapter 4, verse number 15. Chapter 4, verse number 19. Chapter 4, verse number 23. All chapter 4, verse 34. Chapter 4, verse 124, chapter 65, verse number 1 and 2, 65, number 4 and 6, and that's all. That's all. Thank you very much for allowing me to
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 verses. Okay.
Yeah. All those verses.
While everybody's talking, I'll go ahead and I'll post those into the public chat.
Yeah.
For everybody
All
to get.
those verses actually talk about women, and I don't expect and this verse. Verse number 15 and chapter 4 that women they commit adultery and they need to have witnesses and this kind of stuff, and later on I'm done with this one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So who wants to be the first contestant tonight? Anybody?
Can I?
Paul Sutliff, host of the Sutliffian Report on Blog Talk Radio, the Global Patriot Network, and also an author of 4 books, one of which you told me tonight, Paul. You told me go to page 78. So I'm like, oh, okay, go to page 78.
It's the page I used in the book I ordered. I just got it a couple days ago. So
okay, well, it's on
that.
for me. It's on page 7. It's okay. So go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I have a question. I think it's rather simple, and I believe I know your answer. My understanding is you would consider a 50-year-old man that has sex with a 9-year-old as a pedophile or a sick, vile person. Would you agree with that?
1,000,000%.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I didn't hear you.
1,000,000%, you said.
Thank you.
Not just 100, not just 1,000.
I thank you for that. I thank you for your honesty. Okay, so here's my next question. Should let's say there is a faith structure out there. I don't care what its name is or anything. If there is a faith structure out there that has a person leading it that has had, that's known or even publicized by that faith structure that they have had sex with a 9-year-old, should anybody follow that man?
No.
That's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
I will give you chapter 2, verse 222. Write it down, Eric, as well.
Hold on, and I'm typing this up in here already. Give me a second here. 1 and 2, and then
it's very easy. 2, 2, 2, 2.
Right. Hold, stop. 4 and okay. And what? 2, 2, 2, 2. Like
222. Yeah.
Okay, it's like 6, 6, 6, 6. Okay, there we go. All right, it's in chat. There we go. Go ahead. And what? Okay. Who else has something? John, Isa, DL, Calvin, our new guy. Nobody has anything for you. I thought this.
I have a question.
Okay. Oh, here comes Rad back. Go ahead, Isa.
So I guess my question is, Assalamu alaikum. My question would be, so what would you say? So in this engagement, it seems like we have this type of split here. We have a camp that says that there's a support for the age of 19 or 18, 19, later adolescence or young adulthood versus the 6-year-old narrative. Why do you think that the 18-year-old narrative is stronger than the 6-year-old narrative? What is the compelling argument of that? Is it from an ethical standpoint that you take this position, or do you think this position actually exists within the data, within the literature, within the information? And if it's the other way around, that it's or if it's an ethical position, do you think that the literature for the 6-year-old to 9-year-old is a corrupted narrative? Why do you think it seems like a lot of scholars take the position that the 6 to 9-year-old narrative is the correct one? How would you counter that narrative? Or do you feel that it's just simply that this story, that age was kind of relative at that time? Is that the position you're taking? Or I'm just kind of curious, how do we engage? Because this is sort of like an internal conflict that would appear in the Muslim community, that there's this one age group which is much later than this other age group. Could it be possible that the 6 to 9-year-old age would be correct, and that's just maybe the ethical element of that time? How would you engage that? Thank you.
The question is for me?
Yes.
I believe there is something wrong about the counting and the numbers at that time. That's why it come like 6 or 9 instead of 16 or 19. And I don't know how it come to be. And this is why while I read the Quran and he's talking about women, for example, this is why I mentioned chapter 2, verse number 222, because it says when women have their period, stay away from them, don't approach them. And 6 years old or 9 years old, actually, they don't have period, actually, because they didn't reach this age. And the Quran, it's obvious for those people who will reflect upon what they are reading. And if we to take any hadith willy-nilly and just accept it just because it's hadith and it's an sahih, or it might be fabricated, it not be authentic, it might be but to offend the prophet and degrade him. And as you mentioned in the beginning, that only this subject come to light in the 20th century. That means at the time of prophet, nobody see it as an issue besides the prophet when they approach him, the leader of his tribe, and they told him, if you want to be king over us, we will make you king. If you want to be the richest one, we will give you money so you become the richest. If you want any of our women, you marry any women. Just to stop preaching that God is one, and we are equal in the eyes of God. And the prophet, he said, he reject all their offering, and he said, I am the prophet of God. If they put the moon in my right hand and the sun as my left, I'm not gonna leave it, or I will die of it. And this is how a man of 23 years, for 23 years old, from 40 to 63, he stood and transformed from the time of Jahiliyyah, where they used to bury their children, to give the women the right inheritance, the right in society, their equality as a partner for their husband, and share equality. And this is what it is.
Okay, here's some advice
Answer
from
real
Rashi.
quick. Wait, I'm
Hold
just
on,
going to
no,
interject.
Brad,
Wait,
hold
I'm just
on.
going to interject here real quick.
Brad,
Hold on,
Brad,
hold on. Everything that the Quraysh went up and offered Muhammad, he achieved anyway. He had any of the women that he wanted. He had all the wealth. He actually was bigger than a king. Okay, because he was a prophet, the first caliph of a fledgling empire. No. So you coming up with saying, "Hey, we're going to offer you the sun and the moon." He achieved it all. Okay, he achieved it all. So I'm sorry, that's just not an argument. I mean, he held out for a better deal. I would state that when they made him that offer, okay, if that's true, let's say, okay, yeah, if it's true, when they made him that offer, he knew he had him, and he knew he would achieve all that and much more than what they offered as a political animal, as a political being that Muhammad was. He was actually a genius. I have to tell you this.
okay,
Well,
there's a couple things that.
yeah.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So
Yeah,
do you think
yeah. Go quick though. We're
Yeah.
running out of time tonight. Go ahead.
So do you think the prophet was doing all of this to get as much women as he want?
Well, what does the evidence demonstrate? What do the hadiths say? That he and here's hold on, before this is one thing I want you to consider. Who would have spoken out against Muhammad at this time? He has a child bride. When he makes hijrah to Medina, he becomes a warlord. People start getting whacked left and right for criticizing him. You start seeing Jewish tribes completely ethnically cleansed. And so when Rad makes the point that, where did Rad go? Did he leave already? Rad makes the point that that this guy achieved all of these things without that you said that he did not want. Well, he did get them. So I don't see the point here. But
that is exactly what that quote I read earlier says. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And also in that quote, I would add, it said that Aisha was 9 years old. There was a couple of other things that I wanted to address. Isa had made a comment about the 19-year-old camp, or believes that Aisha was 19. Isa, are you still there? Is he still here? He's still here. Isa, are you still there? Yeah. Okay. can you tell me where this camp that you described that wants to ascribe an older age for Aisha is located? Where can I find the bulk of this scholarship? Is there anything out there that you're aware of that have published in theological journals anywhere or made any inroads on any of that?
It's been hard. I've been looking into it. I've been researching it. And what I see is similar to what the gentleman was presenting about. It's sort of like it's inducted as opposed to it being like literally stated. That's kind of the information that I've seen. And I'm like looking everywhere. It's hard. It's hard to find that specific number.
Okay, and I appreciate that. Okay, and when I was one of the things that Ask Truth, just to be honest, Ask Truth sent me a whole laundry list of stuff this morning. And dude, if you're here, you need to stay in bed. I mean, he sent this stuff to me. It's 4:45 in the morning. Okay. But anyway, I'm sitting there reading through all of this, and one of the things that kept popping out in what he had sent me was source, cite a source. All these assumptions and assertions are made, but they very rarely are citing direct sources. And one of these that Yahya had brought up here, I think it was dealing with the age of Amsa. Am I saying that right? Asma. Her age was narrated by Hisham, who people say had a bad memory anyway. Are you aware of that? I mean, that's the source. That's the source for her age.
Later on, when he was in Iraq, yeah, I am aware of that. Yeah.
All right. Well, so when we start looking at the sources saying that she was such and such an age, or so and so was such and such an age, and so was such and such an age, then Aisha could have been this age. But the fact is that we have Sahih Hadith that say that she was 9. We have Tabari saying she was 9. We have Ibn Ishaq saying she was an extremely young girl.
Okay.
We have all of these. Okay, go ahead.
Is Tabari or Nisa'i or Ibn Kathir or Ahmad bin Hanbal or any one of this more clear than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he speak in the Quran and talk about and for us to reflect upon and try to balance any hadith for any man comparing with what Allah is saying. Besides, I would like to say that the gentleman, when he spoke of Muhammad achieving and having girls or women as many as he forget, and when you say like caravan robber and this stuff, let me tell you what happened for the first 13 years. The Prophet, peace upon him, as a believer.
We're going. Okay, we can spend all night doing that. We're going to go off the topic. There's a couple things that I want to drill down on here before we do go. And we can all read the
just briefly.
Okay, I'm going to give you a minute. How's that? Take a minute.
Yeah, fantastic.
Go ahead.
The Prophet, for 13 years, he was abused and taken all their belonging, and they were isolated till the migration. Even for the pagan to follow them to Medina to kill him and kill all his. Then the Prophet, he established himself and he fought against everybody, and he managed from 13 years to establish an empire by a tribe of Arab, which used to fight even for a camel, And the Prophet, he brings them and united, and we have 1.8 billion followers of Prophet Muhammad. This is what he achieved. Achieved that we worship one God by he's destroying all the idol worshipper. And thank you very much.
Okay.
Can I also ask a question whenever you're ready? Or no?
Connie, go ahead. Connie, I'm going to play your video too.
Yeah,
or actually not your, I'm going to address it. Go ahead.
Yahya, you said that I don't know, the Arabs or whoever, that they had to keep away from the women when they were on their periods. Is that correct?
Yes,
That they
I
had to
did.
keep away from them?
Is in the Quran that
Okay.
don't have intercourse while she is in her period. This is
Okay.
Quran 2, chapter 2, verse 222. And
Okay.
what I said, the 6
Can I
years old or
respond?
9 years old, they don't
Can I
have.
respond?
Yeah,
Okay.
please do, please do.
Okay. Thank you. Well, there is about 6 hadiths where it talks about that Aisha says that the prophet used to fondle her while she was on her period, where she had to wear some kind of clothing over her.
Okay,
That's not being away from a woman when she's on her period.
okay. Uh, can I explain this?
I don't know if I want you to be honest
No,
with
no,
you.
like
Because every time I feel like I gotta go
no,
do
no, no.
some ablution after
Very,
this
very,
show.
very quick,
Connie
very
was
quick, very quick. That
right.
means there's no intercourse at all. That means he pleasure himself through his lawful woman, and sometimes we are men. If we are like as you say in heat, sometimes we ask our my wife to help me to achieve my desire and finish. There's nothing shame about it.
Why do I have a new fan in the chat here? Who is this? This guy, this gal. Why would you say you hate me?
You must love me then.
That's not nice. I don't appreciate that. That makes me feel kind of bad. Okay. All right. So
He
what I
hates
want to
you,
do,
man.
okay. Well, you know what he can do, Adil? He can just get in line with everybody else because there is a
I have a
long
question.
line with that one.
He can get behind me.
Yeah, okay.
I have a question for Yahya.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Who
Okay.
is this? Who's talking?
This is Calvin. This is the new guy, of course.
Oh yeah, Kelvin. Yes, welcome. Go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Yahya, you said that it's disgusting, the idea of a 54 or however old he was, year old man, to engage in sexual relationship with a 9-year-old girl. And I understand how I understand your position, but if you were to find out that this indeed did happen, a 54-year-old man had sex with a 9-year-old girl, I think you said you would kill such a person. But if you found out that the prophet did do this, what would be your recommendation for yourself and anyone else that found out this was the truth, that a 50-something-year-old man did indeed have sex with a 9-year-old? What would you suggest a person do in a case like that?
As I said, I rely on the Quran, and to be honest, as a Muslim, I don't doubt the Prophet, peace upon him, and I don't doubt that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a prophet who teach us first. Actually, he was sent as high standard, characteristic, moral, and he teach about everything. He would not contradict what he teach. And when they asked Aisha about his moral character, she said he is the Quran physically walking. So the Prophet would not teach something and go and contradict it by sleeping with a minor. This is my
So
position.
then it's safe to assume that your recommendation would be for anyone 56 years old or whatever however old he was, who sleeps with a 9-year-old. Your recommendation would be someone not to listen to or give their allegiance to such a person, since you're sure the prophet did not do this. Correct?
What I'm saying is, okay, if we
Let me rephrase it. I'm sorry.
rephrase it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, let me rephrase it. All right. So you say the prophet did not do this, but if anyone who claimed to be a prophet did do this, your recommendation for us would be that we should not listen to such a man. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And thank you so much for your candor, and I appreciate it.
Well, that was the first word that popped to my mind, was the candor that you get from Yahya on this subject. And we do appreciate that. Rad, I'm going to play your video, but I'm sure what you have to say is more important than that. Go ahead.
Okay, well, everything I have to say is important because I am that important. You know what I'm saying? Okay, no, actually, I did want to follow up. I did want to follow up. I actually piggyback on Calvin's question. Okay, Yahya, you said Muhammad is the high standard. He sets the standard for moral behavior, correct? Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
for Muslims. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Then, okay, so then what is wrong with him having sex with a 9-year-old girl? If he is the moral standard, and if he did do that, then what could possibly be wrong with that? He's setting the standard. Let me rephrase this. Let me put these specifically. Okay? Jesus Christ is our moral standard. Okay? If Jesus Christ, okay, who I believe is our moral standard, had sex with a 9-year-old girl, I would have to conclude there is nothing wrong with that. Now he did not do that, obviously. But I would, as a believer in Jesus Christ as that high moral standard, would have to say, okay, yeah, he did it. Nothing wrong with that. Because he set the standard. Do you see what I'm saying? So Muhammad sets the standard. He is your high moral standard. So what right do you have to judge against all the hadiths that we've proven from Islamic sources, all the tafsirs, all the Islamic information? These are not Islamophobes that are telling you this of the age of Aisha. This is 1400 years of Islamic scholarship. Okay? All right? Okay? So what right do you have to say? Okay, okay. What right? Well, first of all, what right? Okay, do you have to say that this is wrong if he did do this, as the Islamic sources say? Do you see what I'm saying? If he's the moral standard, he sets the code, dude. Okay, so why is it wrong if Muhammad did this? This is what I don't get from Muslims. I mean, well, from some Muslims, there are other Muslims who say, yeah, we got no problem with it, like Yasser Qadi. Okay,
Well,
but do you see what I'm saying? I mean, yeah.
There's a big psychological disconnect for people that do that, and I think this is the thing that Yahya recognizes. So Yahya recognizes the fact that anybody that psychologically can engage in that type of activity, being that old with somebody that young, is not only psychologically wacko, but there's something wrong with them physically as far as what their attractions are. And Kenny Bulmer says it in that video that we're going to play here if we can ever get to it. That
all right.
there's
well,
no
real
way,
quick, yeah. What's your answer to that? Why don't you?
Listen to my answer. Listen to my answer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, has choose a prophet and messenger, and they are the best characteristic morally above all mankind. And these people, they are to lead people to God. And for God to choose somebody who are able to sleep with 6 years old or 9 years old, I don't think he is from God. You talk about Jesus. Jesus, peace upon him, even he didn't get married at all, and as well as John the Baptist. And there is an idea because of that. Even the prophet, peace upon him, he didn't have children to boys to live because people would say that he is a son of a prophet, so he is a prophet. And the prophet Muhammad والسلام, he is the seal of all the prophet, come to confirm all the prophet before him and guide us back to the oneness of God, which Jesus teach and which Jesus command. The Lord our God is one and not other than that.
Okay. Rad, do you have a follow-up or?
Well, no, not really. Well, just to say, yeah. Okay, so you're basing morality on your morality, not on the morality of the perfect man. You are judging the perfect man based on your morality, and I think that's your problem. That's your conundrum. But go ahead, play the video, Eric, and thank you, Yahya, for stopping by. But go ahead, we're gonna have to play this video because he's gonna go. And what video of mine am I playing, or you're playing? I don't know.
This is the one. This is the one that we were discussing this morning.
Oh right. Oh
This
yeah.
person
Oh
was
yeah.
last
So
night.
full disclaimer. Yeah. So full disclaimer, Charles, if you are listening, and I hope you are. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Connie's video was an edited version of my video, but her editing of the video was only adding the graphics. Okay. I actually forgot that I added the clip that the copy and paste that I did at the end. I actually forgot that part. But no, this
Got
is
it.
my video. The only editing that Connie did was just add some graphics, the finger and fire and everything like that. Go ahead and play it.
Right.
This is the original. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, the reason why I wanted to play this, let me just make sure I say this, is because
Thanks,
this is
Dragon.
what, okay, this is what your mainstream uh, Muslims believe about this issue, and this is what it drives them to do. This is why we're playing it.
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Perverts out there.
Does everybody realize that Kenny just called his prophet a pervert?
Or that Muslim men they've got their eyes open for little 9-year-old girls that you seem to be so convinced about. And where are all the little 9-year-old girls? I don't know about you, Connie, but let's be honest with it. I'm a 50-year-old man, and I've seen women that are far more attractive than 9-year-old girls. They're far more developed. And I don't mean to be, I'm just trying to put these in perspective, right? A 9-year-old girl, okay, versus a woman. Men like women, Connie. I'm sure. There's men like women, Connie. I'm sure. There's. I'm a 50-year-old man, and I've seen women that are far more attractive than 9-year-old girls. They're far more developed. Perverts out there. But usually those people have issues with sometimes their lack of performance or being impotent, things of that nature. So those are perverts. Okay, those are people who have issues, but that has nothing to do with Islam. That has nothing to do with the Prophet of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Does everybody realize that Kenny just called his prophet a pervert?
Yeah.
Put this out there. Everybody listening on YouTube, Kenny Bomer, whatever you want to call him, just said Muhammad was disgusting. He just said that.
the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it's per Prophet Muhammad.
All right, thank you, Rad, for that. And essentially, all he's doing there is he's just
Yeah,
talking
that
about
ending
the-
part, that ending part. Wait, stop, hold on, stop. That ending part, which you kind of cut off. That ending part, that's where I took out where Kenny says the Prophet Muhammad blah blah blah, and I put in where he said pervert, and I kind of dubbed it in there and everything like that. Clearly, I edited the video. Oh, shocking! And I did it at the end. But no, the conclusion is the same. And this is the conclusion. This is the conclusion, Yahya, that you are drawing. The same deal. If Muhammad did do this, according to all Islamic sources. Muhammad did this. It's not an if, okay? It's Muhammad actually did do this according to all Islamic sources. And again, I reiterate, if he is the standard of morality, if he is, as you said, the Muhammad is the Quran physically walking, and in the Quran, in the written Quran, it actually states that the Iddah period for girls who have not yet reached the age of menstruation, okay, is 3 months. Then again, I mean, this all backs up all of it. I am just saying, why do you disagree with the perfectly moral standard? Okay,
I'm gonna I'll let Yahya
I mean,
answer that.
seriously.
Just let me remind people in chat once again to do chat. People in chat, remember to like, share, subscribe. Hold on, I'm doing my like, share, subscribe, ring the bell thing here. Okay, make sure you guys in chat do that. I've noticed we got a couple new people tonight, which I always enjoy seeing. Go ahead, Yahya.
I would like you, if it's possible, can you put on the screen chapter 24, verse number 33, please, and we can read it together?
24:33. That means that I would have to do the math. Okay, here comes chapter 24, verse 33. 33 would be right after 32. I'm sure of it.
Chapter 24, verse number 33.
Okie, is this it? Oops, right here. This one?
Yeah, please.
All righty. You want me to read it?
Can you read it, please?
All right, we'll go ahead with Sahih International. But let them who find not the means for marriage abstain from sexual relations until Allah enriches them from his bounty. And those who seek a contract for eventual emancipation from among you, or from among whom your right hand possesses, then make a contract with them if you know there is within them goodness, and give them from the wealth of Allah which he has given you. And do not compel your slave girls to prostitution. Oh my gosh, we've done this one before. Oh, please, I don't want to get in this discussion again. If they desire chastity, to seek thereby the temporary interest of worldly life. And if someone should compel them, then indeed Allah is to them after their compulsion forgiving and merciful.
So Allah forgives the pimps, yo. Allah forgives the sex traders. Allah forgives them, yo. See, pimping is easy in Islam. I'm just saying, yo. All right, that's it. I'm out. Drop the mic.
Yeah. We had this. The reason why you're getting that reaction is because we had just discussed this for, I don't know. It was a couple weeks ago. But go ahead. I'll give you a couple. We got to get going. But go ahead.
No, I don't have a problem with this, because here, as you can see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala command not to force fatayatikum. He's not talking about women. He's talking about underage girls, prostitution, and taking advantage of them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbidden intercourses and sex and lawful sex, and asking people to have a contract and to have witnesses, as I mentioned at the beginning of our discussion.
Okay. All right. All right. I don't want to get into that. I just don't want to discuss it. But you, sir, I want to thank you so very much for coming tonight. I think the discussion went really well. Had a little push back and forth, but that we're going to have that. Everybody that was in the chat tonight, I mean, we had at one time 38 people in chat, and that's pretty high for this show. I normally don't get that many people participating in the live stream at one time, and the whole panel has been full. And I appreciate everybody that's on the panel that came in tonight, contributed to it. The people that had sent me Ask Truth Apologetics and Dr. Kufar Phobia for sending me that stuff. I appreciate that. Does anybody have any parting words before we punch out? Yeah. Well, you got to go to bed. You go.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, come to Christ for salvation. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, well, we pray
Christ
we
for
pray for that because he's able to recognize this, and we appreciate that. Yeah. Again, thank you for coming, and we will see y'all.
I would like to say something before we go. Before we go,
are you going to say you hate me too? Because a lot of people in chat have been saying that they hate me. I mean,
to be honest, I don't hate anybody, and I wish the best for all of us. And I thank you very much for allow me and give me the platform to express myself. I would like everybody to check my humble channel, Islam Defender Yahya. Sometimes people call me blasphemer, but I hope we talk in the future about many subjects. As you can see, I don't like to interrupt anybody. I listen. I respond as much as I'm with my ability. And thank you everybody who come on the show, and it was very enjoyable, and I enjoy it so much. It's like 1:10 here. Even so,
you need to
grateful for everything.
All right. God bless you. Yeah. Everybody, God bless you. Thank you for coming, and we will see you on Sunday on the Cross and the Crescent discussion group.
Thank you.